Welcome to the Daily Decant, your 5-minute briefing on the world of wine. Each episode delivers practical insights to help you choose, order, and talk about wine with more confidence in everyday social settings. Let's get into today's decant. We've made it south, and south means Châteauneuf-du-Pape. This is the appellation that brought most people to southern Rhône in the first place, and it's also the one that most people understand the least. The name's familiar, the wine is on every serious restaurant list, but ask someone what actually goes in a bottle of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, or what the stones on the label are all about, or why two bottles from the same appellation can taste completely different, and most of the time you'll get a blank look. Let's fix that today. Châteauneuf-du-Pape sits about 15 kilometers north of the city of Avignon in the southern Rhône. The name translates to the new castle of the Pope, and it refers to the 14th century when the papacy was relocated from Rome to Avignon for roughly 70 years. The popes planted vineyards here, and the tradition took hold and never left. Today, the appellation covers about 3,200 hectares and is one of the most tightly regulated in France. Now let's talk about the stones, because they're genuinely important and very misunderstood. Across much of the appellation, the vineyard floors are covered in large, rounded stones called galets. They look like river rocks, which is exactly what they are. These are ancient riverbeds from the Rhone's prehistoric course, deposited over millions of years. What the galets do is absorb the heat during the day and radiate it back towards the vines at night, extending the growing season and helping Grenache, which needs warmth to ripen fully, achieve the richness and alcohol the appellation is known for. But here's what the stones don't do. They don't cover the entire appellation. Parts of Châteauneuf have sand, clay, limestone, and other soil types. The galet-covered areas are concentrated mainly on the plateau around the village itself and in a few famous estates, which means the soil map of Châteauneuf-du-Pape is actually quite complex, and that complexity is part of why wines from different estates within the same appellation can taste so different. The grape situation adds another layer. The appellation permits up to 18 different varieties in a blend. In practice, most producers use a much smaller number, and the key question is usually about the ratio of Grenache to Mourvèdre. Grenache-dominant wines tend to be warmer, rounder, earlier drinking, and more obviously fruity. Mourvèdre-dominant wines tend to be darker, more tannic, more savory, and far longer lived. Château de Beaucastel, the wine that appeared at the Grand Tour last week, is one of the most famous Mourvèdre-dominant estates in the appellation. Their wines can age for decades and are built for the cellar, not for immediate drinking. So which style should you buy? That depends entirely on when you want to drink it. If you're opening a bottle this year, look for a Grenache-forward Châteauneuf from a recent vintage. If you're building a cellar and thinking 5 to 15 years out, the Mourvèdre-dominant producers like Beaucastel reward patience in a way that few wines in the world can match. Beyond Beaucastel, here are 5 producers worth knowing. Château Rhône, legendary, expensive, and made almost entirely of old wine Grenache on sand and clay soils. Unlike any other Châteauneuf, Clos-du-Pape, consistently one of the finest estates in the appellation, beautifully balanced. Domaine Telegraphe, reliable, widely available, and an excellent introduction to the appellation's character. Château Lanière, historic estate, elegant style, fairly priced. And Henri Bonneau, a tiny cult producer whose Réserve des Célestins is one of the most sought-after wines in the southern Rhône. If you see it, buy it. Tomorrow, we leave Châteauneuf and explore what lives in its shadow and what those neighboring appellations offer that Châteauneuf cannot. That's today's Daily Decant. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends so you can continue building your wine knowledge in just a few minutes a day. See you tomorrow for your next decant.